This is a pipe, right? Come on, is it a pipe or not? I wonder what the artist thought. We don't have to wonder what the artist thought. He told us. The words below in French are "Ceci n'est pas une pipe," or in English, "This is not a pipe." And if you want to laugh at my French pronunciation, please do so in the comments. But of course it's a pipe. What else would it be? Just look at it. It's a pipe. Well, is it? If you went to the Los Angeles County Museum of Art and stood in front of this painting, all you would be doing is in fact viewing different coloured oil paints covering a piece of canvas, not a pipe. But for you, right now, it's not even that. You are looking at your computer screen or your phone or your tablet. It's not a pipe at all. It's just a few thousand pixels arranged on a screen. Rene Magritte, the Belgian surrealist, lived from 1898 to 1967. Like any good surrealist, he challenged our senses by portraying ordinary, real-looking objects in unusual ways, causing us to rethink our view of what is real, making us reimagine our perceptions of the world. Even in this photo of him, he has his hand over his face, one eye peeking through. Hold that thought. Not your typical happy snap pose. In Golconda from 1953, we see ordinary looking chaps floating around the place at different angles, all standing upright as we would expect, but spaced out like flowers on a wallpaper, extending into the distance. And they are standing on nothing. The building is normal, each man on his own is normal, but having them float through the sky in ordered rows plays with our sense of reality. In The Lovers, Magritte gives us a couple kissing, but with their faces completely obscured. Unlike Golconda, there is no physics anomaly here, but the scene is bizarre nevertheless. Who kisses like this? Magritte makes us ponder. Maybe everyone does. Obscuring who we really are, attempting to get close but hiding our true selves, at least at first. His most famous work, The Son of Man, from 1964, is considered to be a self-portrait, and there's his face with the one eye peeking out from behind an apple. Oh, ordinary objects in unusual placements, the surrealist stock in trade. Why an apple? A religious overtone? The original sin's supposed fruit in a painting with the same name that Christ gave to himself, the Son of Man? Worth pondering all of this in full in a future video. Magritte painted the Treachery of Images in 1929. His thinking, said aloud in script below the image, is thought to be a precursor to modern art, making it a kind of progenitor. This image, this representation of a pipe, is immediately contrasted with the words underneath. This is not a pipe. How this thought plays with our minds. How is what we call reality constructed from streams of data fed to us from our senses? Data, there's a modern concept brought to the fore by the information age and the power of information processing. It's information processing that brings this video onto your device, and at the reality level of that, switches that are on or off, representing ones and zeros because, well, we decided that. Okay, but what about the real world? You're sure about that, right? When we see something, what is happening? Is reality what our senses tell us? Is how we see, interpret and understand the world based on a lie, or at least only a partial truth? By what other means could we interpret the world? As we go down to more fundamental levels, none of what we call objects has any more reality than merely a collection and construction of atoms, themselves a reality of quantum probabilistic states that defy understanding. Quantum physics was just emerging when Magritte painted this pipe, if I dare call it that. Niels Bohr had received his Nobel Prize on the particle-wave duality of nature only 7 years earlier. The zeitgeist was full of speculation about differing levels of reality, and realities existing that were almost impossible to imagine, and certainly outside of our everyday experience. We look at a painting like this one, and especially if we don't know French, and without a moment's thought move beyond oil and canvas to see an object, a pipe. In other paintings we see people, actions, landscapes, scenes, great moments in history. We might even start to construct a backstory about the picture. See my other videos on, well, every other artwork I've ever spoken about. We do this, all of it, out of interpreting only a mixture of colours and shapes. Shapes appear to be three-dimensional because we see the light folding around them, like the light folding around the rounded surfaces of this pipe. But light isn't folding around a three-dimensional object. There are just lighter and darker bits of pigment. Light isn't reflecting into our eyes from an object at all, apart from the physical canvas. The physical device you are watching this on. Many artists are taught to start creating still life images. It is through objects like this, which have the wonderful attribute that they stay still and don't have to be paid for their time, that an artist starts the journey of representing three-dimensional objects onto a two-dimensional plane. And some artists just keep pushing, playing with our perceptions, showing two sides of a face at once, knowing that our brains will try to make sense of it anyway, because reality itself is already shown to be an abstraction, so why not go further? And it's not just form that is under threat in our new understanding. Language itself is a construct. This is not a pipe, because pipe itself is a made-up sound, an agreed parting of the lips and movement of air high in the roof of our mouth. All of reality is like this, existing in differing levels of reality and abstraction, in differing physical and conceptual manifestations. At one level this is a pipe, but at many other levels of physics and abstraction, this is not a pipe, not a real one, whatever that means, just the concept of a pipe. It is a paradox in that we can both recognise that no, it's not actually a pipe, only a representation, and yes, it is a pipe. After all, it's not a cat or a waterfall. Magritte found himself defending his painting. The famous pipe. How people reproached me for it. And yet, could you stuff my pipe? No, it's just a representation, is it not? So if I had written on my picture, "This is a pipe," I'd have been lying. And what about fully abstract art, better described perhaps as non-representational art? Some people hate it because it isn't anything that they can see, but when you can see, it's not real anyway. How could blue poles be called art? Or Mondrian's composition too in red, blue and yellow. Yet it still speaks at some level of reality to people. Or maybe you prefer to go back to representational art. Creating texture out of random brush strokes, creating that silk gown out of lights and darks and strokes that pull together to voila! It's obviously a gown. Our senses that we trust take these blobs and communicate them to our brain. Our brain compares those shapes with other similar experiences and says, yep, that's a gown. No need to look deeper, no need to study closely. But it's not, is it? It's just different strokes and colours. And what about colour? We see that, don't we? What about the construction of one colour out of little dots of different colours? Most obviously in this Seurat, a Sunday afternoon on the island of Jatte, but also in just about any painting that has not been overly blended. And as for Seurat's lots of little dots to create colour, this is exactly what your device is doing for you right now. It's not just that the objects you think are here are a lie, it's that the means of representing them is also fooling your brain. What can we say about anything we experience? We can say that at some level it contains a form of existence, and the concept of real versus a lie is constructed. We construct our own reality through experience and the inputs we receive. We piece all of that together and say, aha, it's a dog, or a landscape, or a face. We move up and down the levels of reality, whatever that now means, to say, it's a bunch of atoms, it's a leaf, It's a tree, it's a forest, it's the heart of darkness, it's the scent of a summer's evening, it's the scream of nature, it's the nameless longing, it's the tranquility of remoteness, it's the what am I doing with my life, it's the timeless beauty of a long gone face. And as for this, is this a pipe? It's fooled us. This is not a pipe. The Treachery of Images. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please press like. If you want to be notified when I put out more reactions to great art, please subscribe. See you next time.